Wilson, North Carolina, a quiet city of about 50,000 people, known for its history, its churches, and its small-town charm. But in September 2025, that peace was shattered by a story so shocking it's left the entire community stunned. A man once seen as a community leader, an advocate for peace, and even a former candidate for city council, is now behind bars. He's accused of doing the very thing he stood against, taking lives through senseless gun violence. Tonight, we dive deep into how a respected figure became the center of a deadly tragedy, and why Wilson may never be the same again. This isn't just a crime story. It's a tale of betrayal, broken trust, and a community left grappling with questions that may never fully be answered. It forces us to ask, how does someone go from hope to horror? And more importantly, what lessons can be learned to prevent this from happening again? The answers aren't simple, and the truth is still unfolding. Families are grieving, neighbors are searching for clarity, and the city itself is struggling to heal. What happened in Wilson is not just local news, it's a warning sign for communities everywhere. How does someone go from speaking out against violence to being accused of committing it? And what does this say about leadership, accountability, and the struggles inside small-town America? Let's unpack the truth behind the Wilson shootings.
The tragic shooting. On Monday, September 15, 2025, Wilson police were called to Washington Street after neighbors reported hearing multiple gunshots. What officers found was horrific. Natasha Latrice Sutton, 44, and her son, Avante Pender, 21, were shot and killed. Natasha's sister, Tiffany Fogg, 37, was also shot, but thankfully survived her injuries. Witnesses say the dispute began with an argument inside the home. Reports suggest the issue stemmed from housing problems, complaints about unlivable conditions, and disagreements over rent. Tensions boiled over, and instead of de-escalating, the confrontation turned deadly. The man accused of pulling the trigger? 39-year-old Donta Maurice Chestnut, a name familiar in Wilson, but not for reasons anyone would have expected. Chestnut wasn't just another face in the crowd. He was once viewed as a voice for the community. A former city council candidate and activist who spoke against gun violence, his arrest has left many struggling to reconcile the man they thought they knew with the actions he's now accused of. To some, it feels like the ultimate betrayal.
Who is Donta Chestnut? Donta Chestnut wasn't just another resident of Wilson. He was the founder of Our Wilson, a community nonprofit dedicated to addressing poverty, education, and violence. He organized youth programs, participated in anti-gun violence initiatives, and even ran for Wilson City Council in 2023. His campaign promised safer streets and stronger communities, and to many, Chestnut symbolized hope, proof that someone from the community could rise up and try to make change. And that's what makes this case so shocking. The same man who once condemned violence is now facing charges of 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted first-degree murder.
What happened that day? According to reports, Chestnut left the home during the argument, but returned and allegedly opened fire. Natasha Sutton and her son Avante didn't survive. Natasha's sister Tiffany was shot in the hand, but lived to tell the story. Investigators also revealed that Chestnut's sister, Tiffany Chestnut, 36, is facing charges too. She's accused of hiding or attempting to handle the weapon after the shooting. This wasn't a random act of violence. It was deeply personal, and it's left families torn apart on both sides.
The community reacts. Wilson is in mourning. Friends and family describe Natasha Sutton and her son Avante as kind, family-oriented, and loved by many. Community leaders, pastors, and neighbors have come together for vigils, praying for peace and justice. At the same time, people who once looked up to Chestnut are struggling to reconcile the man they thought they knew with the accusations now against him. Pastor Sherman Blandon put it simply, "We are grieving." There's a lot of people who just don't understand why this happened. The tragedy is forcing the community to face an uncomfortable reality: how quickly anger, fear, and desperation can turn even advocates into perpetrators.
Legal proceedings. As of now, Chestnut is being held without bond. His first court appearance is set for September 30, 2025. Prosecutors will be seeking justice for the victims, while his defense team may argue for mitigating circumstances. But regardless of what unfolds in the courtroom, the damage to the families and to Wilson's trust has already been done. This isn't just another crime story. It's a story about leadership, accountability, and broken trust. The trial ahead will not only decide Chestnut's fate, but will also serve as a reflection of the community's values. How Wilson responds, heals, and ensures that such a tragedy is never repeated. The courtroom will become a stage where justice, grief, and resilience all collide.
Bigger questions. The Wilson shootings raise bigger questions about the challenges communities face. How do we hold leaders accountable when their private lives contradict their public message? Could this tragedy have been prevented if housing disputes and poverty were addressed sooner? And what does it mean for a town when one of its advocates becomes the very thing they warned against? This isn't just about one man. It's about the systems, housing, justice, and community support that failed to stop a deadly confrontation. At its core, this story forces us to confront uncomfortable truths, that beneath the surface of small-town America, unresolved social and economic struggles can erupt into violence. And unless those deeper issues are addressed, history has a way of repeating itself.
Wilson, NC is forever changed by this tragedy. For Natasha Sutton, for Avante Pender, for Tiffany Fogg, their voices must not be lost in the headlines. And for the community, the lesson is painful but necessary. Leadership isn't just about words, it's about actions, even under pressure. As this case unfolds, one thing is certain: Wilson will be asking itself hard questions for years to come. This story is bigger than one man, one family, or even one city. It's a reminder of how fragile trust can be, how quickly it can be broken, and how urgently we need to confront the cycles of violence that touch even our quietest towns. What do you think? Can someone's good work be separated from their worst actions? Or does violence erase everything that came before it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because these stories matter and your voice helps shape the conversation.